Right, Mitchell's Plain Community Policing Forum chairperson Norman Jantjies joins us now for a little bit more when it comes to this. Norman, I don't know how much of that you could hear then. And I just wanted to perhaps get your thoughts with regards to the situation and how would you describe the current atmosphere, particularly in Mitchell's Plain?
Yeah, the situation in Mitchell's Plain is very bad, although today is much calmer. But we've had a pattern over the many years now that there's regular shootings, murders and stuff. And obviously from time to time there's this rapid escalation. And this past few days is one of those occasions where it just totally out of order. And obviously we very worried, very concerned about the ongoing violence, and the community is traumatized at this point.
Does the community take any comfort from knowing what the police commissioner said there? I'm just speaking about how they know who it is that they are looking for. Does that bring you any kind of comfort at this stage?
I guess it brings a little bit of comfort. I'm sure we cannot ignore the success at this point in time. However, we're more worried about extra resources coming into an area because there's now this crisis, and then they move on again to another area where there's a crisis. And then our community just resorts back to the old pattern of regular crime, shootings. So we have, I think, in this the first 3 months of this year, we had an average of 15 murders a month, you know. And I'm sure since from April till June, it's a bit higher than that. So it's an abnormal situation, and we've been appealing to government to really assist us and drive the commission of inquiry. So we hope to meet with senior government officials. And in fact, tomorrow we're having a meeting from the neighboring areas that's also impacted by gang violence, mass murders. So Guguletu, Kailicha, and some other areas will be joining us tomorrow, so that we as community partners of SAPS can come up with a strategy that will assist us. And one of the things that we will probably emphasize again tomorrow is the calling for this commission of inquiry. And then hopefully that will produce a sustained gang intervention strategy that will look at the different pillars that impacts on gangsterism. Law enforcement is just one of the ways, but there's also social crime prevention, there's gang intervention, there's research. So, and then there's the whole thing of infrastructure. We need cameras and number plate detectors in all the hotspots. So, and of course, we need more police officers, more resources.
Yeah.
We need more facilities for young people.
Sure. Norman?
So hopefully that will come out of a strategy.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about whether visible policing is something that you might be concerned about. Is there sufficient, are there sufficient boots on the ground that you feel, particularly in a high-risk area like Mitchell's Plain, which has been known to be having issues like this? At the same time, do we know specifically, is this just rooted to gang violence? Is this a specific gang? What's the reason for the upsurge and the rise and the spike that we've seen recently?
Yeah, I think more boots on the ground on a sustained basis is definitely going to assist us, because Mitchell's Plain is a very big area. And fortunately, a police station will be opening in Thembisile late next year. And Thembisile on its own is already generating 40% of our serious crime. So it's going to make an impact, yeah. And your other question was...
just with regards to gangs, do you know exactly which gangs this might be from? Yeah. If it's, exactly how gang related?
I've been working in Mitchell's Plain for about 30 years in different capacities. I was also the director for NICRO, the National Institute for Crime Prevention and Rehabilitation of Offenders. So I've seen the patterns, it has evolved. But in the past, we had about 4 or 5 gangs with very clear organograms, you know. So it was easy if there was a problem lower down, you go to the leader and the matter is then almost immediately resolved. However, these days there's such a lot of gangs in the area, and then there's also a few gangs that went on a rapid recruitment drive. So they're driving the other gangs out, or they're forcing them to become part of them. So we know the major gangs involved. And of course, it also depends on different parts of Mitchell's Plain. So sometimes there's battles between 2 gangs. And I think in this, there's some connection between all the different battles that happen. So yes, we've got an idea, but SAPS will be in a better position to say whether who exactly is involved and where it originated, and what do they see as the solution for this particular war that's happening in Mitchell's Plain.
Do residents feel safe enough to cooperate with police? Because that's also very important in terms of intelligence, in terms of tip-offs, in terms of understanding the reasoning and where all of these situations are ultimately happening. Is there a safety element that people are willing to actually go out and speak to police and give them the help they need?
I think maybe we must acknowledge that that leaves a lot to be desired, you know. The relationship between SAPS and the trust deficit that's existing is a problem. So when sometimes people are reporting to me that they gave certain information to a particular police officer, and then they will that particular problem person will come and confront them and say, "How come you pimped on me as such?" You know. So that is an issue, and then sometimes I also hear regularly in the community that certain police officers is linked to gangs, you know. So there is a trust deficit, and I hope that can be addressed. So that should definitely form one of the pillars of this gang strategy. How do we make communities part of the solution? Because number one, they know who the perpetrators are, but then they also can assist, because at the end of the day, some of the potential perpetrators and victims are also known to them. So we need to we can't just focus on prevention and then of course intervention, but we need an integrated and well-resourced plan that will force people to work in a particular way so that we can measure the intervention every 6 months or so. But the trust deficit is a problem. Definitely, it is a problem.
Norman, just a final question. Of course, that call that you've even alluded to yourself then for a commission of inquiry, particularly into gangsterism and possibly even police failures at play here. What do you hope this would ultimately showcase? Would it resolve the issue, do you feel, or would it just highlight it so that you're more focused in on how to resolve the problem at hand in Mitchell's Plain and the surrounding areas?
Yeah, I think I didn't exactly catch the question, but I believe that the number one, more boots on the ground. Number two, the gang strategy, so that because we've got a lot of problems in Mitchell's Plain. Substance abuse is a major problem. We've got a lack of facilities. We need cameras in the different areas. So it needs to be integrated and sustained. And it needs a solid partnership between the police and the community, as well as the other government departments. We can't just have a situation where politicians come to the area when it's election time, you know? They must remain involved and address the issues that confront the community.
And those issues are indeed stark. Norman, appreciate the time. Thank you so much for joining us here on Newsfeed PM. Then Norman Jantjies, part of the Mitchell's Plain Community Policing Forum.